Okay, guys, welcome to day 2 of boot camp. My name is Monica Perry, and I'm your Market Center Tech Trainer in Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and Chapel Hill Market Centers. And we are going to go ahead and get started today. I promised you guys that we were going to come back to a couple of things. We had some great questions yesterday. And again, I would rather you guys ask me questions than us cover every single thing, because the learning process for Command is not going to be like we do this week and then it's over. It's going to be an ongoing process. Like I said yesterday, think about Command like your phone. The best way that you're going to use Command is through use. The best way you're going to learn to use it is through using it. And the more that we do use Command, the more familiar it becomes, just like when you take a new cell phone out of the box. So with that being said, yesterday we ended up talking on smart plans. So I told you guys about my 5 favorite smart plans that I think every agent should have, which is the monthly neighborhood nurture, the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, the birthday smart plan, the home anniversary smart plan, and the quarterly call plan. Those are the 5 Keller Williams based smart plans that I recommend that every agent downloads because they're the most useful, they're the easiest to use, they're the most systematic. But with that being said, you can also create your own smart plans. And there are lots of agents that love to create smart plans that have already done that for you. So when you're here in your smart plans, which is your 4th applet over here on the left, remember we can click the white KW on the red background and pop out these applet names so that you can be reminded of what they are. So when you're in your smart plans applet, you can also come over here to the library. Yesterday we did this and we looked at the original Keller Williams 10 smart plans. And now we can scroll down and find these top rated smart plans that other agents have published, and they are there for you to use. So KW is a company that I like to call one of R&D, which is normally the nomenclature for research and design. I call it rip off and duplicate, right? So we love to share at this company. It's odd, I know. When I came here from a different company, I was like, why is everybody so nice? Why is everyone sharing their stuff with me? And it's just our culture. So super cool. We can come in here and check out these top rated smart plans. So these are simple 1 email smart plan designs. And we have all kinds of stuff in here. So one of my favorites is this 555. So stay in touch with your data bank with multiple touches a year, phone calls, handwritten notes, text messages, and social media touches. So let's look at the steps. Fred Moore, I love this smart plan. So it's a phone call, and he even gave you a little script of what to say. It delays for 30 days. It sends you a touch task that says connect with them on social media. It delays 30 days. Send them a handwritten message. Delay 29 days. Then it sends them a text message if you have Twilio, which again, remember, if you don't have Twilio yet, we currently can't get a new subscription. It's on hold, but I'll let you guys know as soon as that hold is lifted. But until then, you can use these as tasks. And so it's got a series of text messages, and then this actually restarts 4 times. So it's got a different text message each time. He gave you the script. It's all there. It's fantastic. I love that 555. Other ones that are of really good interest are any Facebook plans, because Thursday when we look at running Facebook ads, the running of the ad is actually really easy. It's the follow-up, right? So in real estate, the fortune is in the follow-up. You can get all of these leads, and if you don't stay in touch with them in a systematic way, you're not going to convert them. So you can come in here and look for people's Facebook follow-up smart plans that they've made. So there's all kinds of fun stuff in there for you to check out as you grow in using the system. But under my smart plans, you can actually come up. So we've moved tabs over to my smart plans. You can come up and click the create button, and you need to give that a unique name. So this is boot camp for October 2022. I just want you guys to see what it looks like. You definitely don't have to start off with building your own smart plans. Lots of people have already made them. Those original 5 we discussed are the best ones to start with, but I did want to touch on this and let you see it. So you can see you can create a task, you can make a call, you can send an email, you can send a text, you can set a delay, you can add them to an additional smart plan, or you can restart a smart plan. So you can simply click this, create a task, give the task what you need it to be, click set a delay it up to 30 days, like so. And then maybe you wanted to send an email, then you could do so, and you can just keep building out your smart plan to do what you need it to do. So I wanted to show you that you do have that capability. And this is not where I would start with smart plans. I would just take the ones that are already created to get yourself going. So any questions on that before we jump into one more thing before we move into opportunities? Checking the chat. Make sure that I pull up this. Everybody's good. Okay. So bear with me while I attempt to share my phone screen with you. The other thing that we want to make sure that you do is to get the Command app. There we go. So you guys should be able to see my phone screen now. The Command app is this red background with the white KW. So to go on your resources that I gave you yesterday, there's a link to go both to Apple and Google for whichever device you have to download the Command app. And so I wanted to quickly, we're going to be looking at this every day as we progress, but I wanted to show you what it looks like. So on our Command app, what I want you to remember is that this is made to work with Command. This is not made to replace Command desktop experience, which means that there are things that you can't do on the app. Okay. There are things that you can't do on the app that you can do on the desktop. But what they've tried to do is take all the things they feel like we would need to do out on the road and put them in app form. So we can manage our tasks here at the top. We have a who to contact section. So these are leads that were never contacted. And then recently active, we discussed that yesterday when we were in contacts. So that means that somebody's been on your website looking around, taking some form of action. So you have a recently active widget. We have access to our opportunities, which we'll look at here in just a little bit. And then we talked about the importance of putting good information into our Command database and our contacts. So I also have a birthdays that are coming up in the next 30 days widget, which I love. I can just click on that and see all of the birthdays that I have coming up in the next 30 days, including my big brother there, so that you can reach out to those folks for their birthday. We also have home anniversaries that show up here. And then down at the bottom, we have our contacts. I really, really like this. And let me pick somebody that is a fake person like Mr. Dakota. So here's Dakota. See how I have the little call button, the text button, and the email button right here. So I love that you can see these right next to the contact. I can hit the phone and I can choose to call Dakota using my cell phone number because it's my cell phone. But I also have WhatsApp. Okay. So if you are a WhatsApp user and you have it downloaded on your phone and you would prefer to use your WhatsApp phone number, then you can also call using WhatsApp, which I think is really cool. So that's there. And then we can hit the chat or the messaging button. And if you have Twilio, you can send the text using Twilio. You could send it using your cell phone. And also, if you have WhatsApp, you could send it using WhatsApp, which I think is really cool. So I'm a big fan of those buttons right there within the contacts. Let me go ahead and open Dakota's contact up. So again, this is a fake contact. YouTube, please don't take our video down. It will show you the last time you contacted this person You can see their tags and add and remove tags from the contact on the go. You can see their basic information. And what I really love is that you can click on this address here and you can actually navigate yourself right to their home from the Command app using your native map on your phone, which I think is really cool. We can see that lead source, which account it's in, the neighborhoods that we have established, other suggested neighborhoods for this contact, and their preferred method of contact, their birthday, their home anniversary, any relationships, their work, and their custom fields if we have any. We also have the handy dandy call, text, and email buttons here at the bottom, which I love. And then up at the top, we still have that timeline, right? This is just a truncated size, but we can still get in there and see the timeline of everything that we need to see. We can still see their opportunities and create an opportunity right here on the go, which is a transaction. We can add and remove them from smart plans on the go. We can take notes on the conversations that we had, and we can set tasks for ourselves right from the app, which I love, right from within the contact. So super cool functionality there. We can look at all of our contacts, just our contacts, our leads, who's been recently active, and those smart views we talked about setting up yesterday. We can look at them via smart view. So I talked about having set up like rosters and, segmenting out. So you can use your filters, yes, but you can also just drop these smart views down, which I think is really cool. And then you can just pick who you want to look at right there, which is awesome. So any questions on the app, how to get the app, where the app is? We also have this little bell icon right here that gives us all our notifications. I have a few that you guys won't see yet, but you can get an idea of what it would look like. I received a Twilio message from somebody. My team assigned a contact to me. You won't see that tour request quite yet, but you can see all of these different notifications that you'll be able to see. Awesome. Okay, cool deal. So make sure that you're using the Command app. That's probably one of the coolest features that we have gotten in the last year is this app. Okay. All right. So we'll minimize this. Now, let's talk about opportunities. Okay. So opportunities is how we manage our transactions. And I talked to you guys yesterday about, I love Command, having been in this business for 14-ish years. I love that everything is in one place and that I don't have to double and triple enter the same contact information into multiple platforms. I love that we own it, that it protects our data, that we're growing it, that we built it, that we're going to do nothing but improve it. I love it, not because it's my job to love it, because I actually created this job because I loved it. That does not mean that everybody loves it. That does not mean that we are not independent contractors that have options of things that we can do. So the only things that we have to do in Command are transactions, turning in our paperwork, and requesting to get paid. So that's what we're talking about today. And it's probably the most important thing for you to know how to do, since it's the thing that you have to do in the system. All right. So on my website, kwtechcoach.com, and I can always email this to you. It's also in your resources that you're getting today, but I like to keep it here just in case you guys need to access it. You can click on either the new agents tab or the agent resources tab to get to this, and click on how to do a transaction. So this is a workflow. Workflows cost millions of dollars to get built, and we have our own here at KW. Okay. So when you're going to do a transaction, this is the best path for you to take to make sure that you get paid as quickly as possible, that your documents get reviewed as quickly as possible, and that your commission gets paid out as quickly as possible. Okay. So step one, enter contact into command. We talked about that yesterday, right? When that contact, because you've been talking to them like a good real estate agent per the MREA in a systematic and frequent way, they're like, hey, I've decided I'm ready to buy a house. I've been working on my credit. I'm good to go. I'm ready to purchase. You're like, great. So now you're going to create an opportunity, AKA a transaction for them in command. So this is where we're going to start. Okay. So I'm going to move here. You have a few options for starting an opportunity. Okay. You can start an opportunity from within the contact card, both on the desktop version and within the app. If I am in Dakota's contact card, on that right-hand side, I have opportunities right here. So I can just come over to the button and click create opportunity straight from within his contact card, desktop and app. Okay, that's our first option. Second option, we can actually go to the opportunities handshake, which is this one right here. And this is where I want to do this today because I want you guys to get to see the home screen of opportunities and what it looks like, and a couple of other features and things of that nature here in the opportunity section. Okay. If you're on a team, and that includes productivity coaching, you may see two pipelines. So I do have a fake team, okay, so that you guys can see the difference. So my team is called the Elite Helpers. So you can see this is my pipeline for the Elite Helpers. This is my pipeline for, poor Kelly keeps popping in and out of the room. Not sure what's going on with her. Make sure she's good. This is my pipeline that is just for me as an individual agent. So if you're an individual agent, you're not going to see a team. If you're on a team and your rainmaker or your leader has personal timelines turned off, you are only going to see your team. Or if you are on a team, AKA also a productivity coaching team, you might see both if they don't have your personal timeline turned off. Okay, so it depends on what your status is as to what you're going to see here on this screen. For the purposes of today, I'm going to be making an opportunity on my individual agent pipeline so that I can show you guys a few things. So when Command was built, agents from around the country, top producing agents, came and met with Gary Keller and the enablement team, the technology team at KWRI, to brainstorm Command. And there were 5 things they agreed on in transactions. That every transaction gets cultivated. Yes, I might want to buy a house, but I have credit issues. I need to save up a down payment. I have to wait for my son to graduate from high school because he doesn't want to leave in the middle of the year. Whatever it is. I do want to sell my house, but I need to get the roof replaced before I do. I need to get this done before I list the house, etc. Okay. So that's that period of time where you're like, great, well, I want to be here to help you along the way. I can help connect you with a lender that can help you with your credit. I have a great list of vendors that can help you get your new roof put on before we put it on the market. You're cultivating the transaction. Okay. Next, that we have an appointment, because we do. We either have a buyer consultation or we have a listing presentation. So everyone agreed that that happens. Then everyone agreed that the client goes active, whether we get that buyer agency signed, we get our listing agreement signed and put the home on the market, or with the buyer, we start searching for homes. They have become an active client. Then we go under contract, right? We facilitate all of the inspections, summaries, repairs, all of the things that happen under contract, and then the transaction closes. So everyone agrees that those 5 things happen for the green pipeline, which is our listings, the orange pipeline, which is our buyers, and the purple pipeline, which is our leases. Okay, everyone agrees that that happens. Over on the right-hand side, we see potential income and probable income. So if we're putting good quality information like what we think the listing price is going to be, what we think our commission rate is going to be into our opportunities, the potential income is the total of all possible commissions earned in the entire pipeline. The probable income is adjusted based on each stage's probability to close. So if I'm cultivating somebody, I have about a 5% chance that that transaction is going to make it into closing. And then as I progress down the timeline, the chance of me closing it goes up and up and up. Those percentages are already set. You can adjust them if you know that you have a different percentage chance of closing them. Okay. But I personally just leave them where they are because they're kind of just standardized numbers. So the more info that we put in, the better we turn out over here on the right because we can judge how much money we stand to make. Okay. So any questions about how the pipeline reads? They're split into different types of transactions. We have our potential income and probable income on the right. Down at the bottom, we have a summary of our opportunities. And then at the very bottom, we have our opportunities that are going to be closing this month. Okay.
Monica, I have a question. So when do we typically start writing this? Like as soon as we cultivate, we come here and enter it?
Yep. So that is up to each individual agent. That's a fantastic question. Okay. So I personally like cultivating somebody, right? If I'm on Facebook and I see someone say something that makes me think they're going to want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, I immediately start a conversation. I immediately create an opportunity in the cultivate phase. Okay.
Okay.
Some agents don't use all of the pieces of command, which is also okay, right? They only enter their opportunity when they know that they're about to go do the paperwork. They've already talked to the person. They already did their listing presentation. The person's like, yes, I want to list with you. And then they come in here just to get the transaction going right when it's ready to go.
Okay. But even at that point, they'll have to write all the steps of cultivate, appointment, active, and the contract, everything.
No, if you start it when you're just ready to get your paperwork done, then you can just start it in active.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. Anybody else? Okay, so that being said, this is why I like to cultivate my people. The most underutilized piece of command that I've seen thus far is the opportunities checklists and client updates. I'm not going to go too deep in this. It does take some setup time. I gave you guys my checklist. So if I click on cultivate, right? So I want to show you one more time. If I click on any of these, but I'm going to click on cultivate, it brings me into this view. So any opportunities that I have on my listing pipeline in the cultivate phase are here. So remember how I told you everyone agreed cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and close happens for each transaction. That's where their agreement stopped. Well, I do this when I'm cultivating my people. Well, I do this when my people are active. I do staging. I don't do staging. I do this, right? That's where it became like nobody agreed. So what they did is they gave us the ability to create our own stages under the phases. So whatever your business does in this phase of a transaction, you have the ability to create yourself different stages underneath that umbrella. Okay. And within each one of those little stages, you have the ability to set up checklists. Okay. So now that I have entered the cultivate phase, I have a button at the top that says edit stages. So I can pop right up here. I could add a stage, or I could delete a pre-existing stage with the trash can right here. and I would confirm that I wanted to delete this stage. And then with each one of them, I have checklists. So you can see under watch, there's a 5% probability that it would close. I come over and I have a checklist right here. So I'm going to open this up. So if I'm watching somebody, because I saw something maybe on social media that made me think they might want to move soon. Okay. I want to obtain their phone number if I don't have it already. I want to get their email if I don't have it already. I want to make sure that I friend them on multiple social media platforms. I want to find out what their home address is. And if they need to move, if they want to sell and move somewhere within my area, that I want to add their current home address and desired locations to which they would want to move to their command. I might want to do a drive-by of the house and grab a front exterior picture with my cell phone. And I also might want to put them on a monthly neighborhood nurture. So these are things that Monica would want to do if I had somebody that I was watching in the cultivate phase. So on the resources that I'm dropping into the chat for you, if it would load, it's thinking. I think everything in this house has slowed down. My daughter just got positively tested for the flu this morning. We have had a real time. She has been sick for 4 weeks. This is now the third sickness that she's had back to back. So it's been super fun. Okay, so I'm dropping this in the chat for you. You can see lots of people have access to this because lots of people like to come to boot camp. So there's those paths to get paid. I made one for each individual market center because there's some slight little nuance differences between each of your market centers. So just use your own, right? And then here's my opportunity checklist. It's just a spreadsheet, essentially. So you can open this right up. This is one of the many times, not many, there are going to be a handful of things that I tell you this week that it is worth taking the time to set things up in systems and models to save yourself time later. Future you will thank you now, because right now when you're getting started, you have more time than money. Later, you're going to have more money than time, right? So it's a give and take there. But when you're getting started, you definitely have more time than you have money for the most part. So the green sheet is the listings. These are things that I did for my listings. And there's a tab at the bottom to flip yourself into buyers. So this is one of the times that I'm going to tell you to sit back, relax, turn on your favorite music, grab yourself your favorite beverage, and you're going to copy and paste my stuff into your checklist. You're going to grab it, right click it, copy it, and then go to command, click add item, right click, paste it, save it, and next. And you're just going to copy and paste it because it will save you time later. I promise you that. If I had a way to just publish this and send it to you, I promise you that I would, but I don't. So this is the best I can offer you. Do you have to use this? Absolutely not. I used to be a paper checklist person.
I didn't cut you off. So how are you going to send us the checklist? I'm sorry. How are you going to send us the checklist again?
It's in the chat. There's a link in the chat for a Google Doc. And within that Google Doc, there's it says Monica's opportunity checklist. Good? Awesome. Y'all ask questions. I don't mind. Cut me off. It's good. I want to answer your questions. Okay? Cool. So we can come in here. We can create these checklists. We can also set it up to do client updates. So I'm going to move into active so you can see what that would be like, right? There's not a whole lot in Cultivate that I would need my client to be notified of. However, in listings, especially, there are. So when I've just listed something, I want to post it out to my office and let them know. I want to post it on social media. You'll notice on my checklist that it says, if you have client updates turned on, please make sure that your tasks are seller facing verbiage, right? You don't want it to say post just listed to my office. You want to say we and or I posted your new listing to my office of 250 agents, right? Instead of saying post it on social media, you want to say, we just posted your listing on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sense? Because the client is going to get an email. Bear with me 1 second, and I will show you what that looks like. And then we're going to wind this up, because if you have questions on it, we can definitely set a meeting and all that kind of fun stuff. But since not everyone has to use this, I don't want to spend like an exorbitant amount of time on it. Let me pull up Mr. Dakota's email, and he listed a house with me. And so this is what the email would look like. Branded to you, just like the email we looked at yesterday. We're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of the tasks that we completed for your listing at this address. If it's a listing and you have the listing connected to the opportunity, the front image will show up into the email. If it's a buyer, there is no email. Okay. But this is what it would look like in that email. Let me find, I know I did a more recent one that was not for 490. I had a better looking one than this. I don't see it. But anyway, you get the point. And then it can say, we just posted your thing on TikTok. We just dropped the yard sign off. We just put the block box on the front door. Your marketing materials have been left in the home, whatever it is that you have done, right? And so in order for that email to shoot, you have to actually check it off. So when you're adding these checklist items here, they will be used for any opportunity that falls into that. Think of it like a bucket, right? So if I click open active and I was staging this house, so you can see 2 out of 15 things are done. And I was like, okay, I did this. I did this. Also within a specific opportunity, because the checklist applied to all, I can come over and set due dates. That will make it create a task for me. If I don't give it a due date, then I just come in here and check it off myself when I'm ready to check it off. But if it's something really important and I need it to set a task, then I can say this needs to get done today at 11:34, done. Now it's created a task for me to do this today at 11:34, right? But as I check it off, if there's a client update check mark checked and I have client updates turned on, it is going to send him an email that says we did this, right? So now if I pick this one up and I move it from staging into just listed, right? It had 15 things to do. Now I've done 0 out of 4 things that need to be done at this point. So the checklist will apply to any opportunity that you drop into that phase and stage. But that's not, I'm gonna end it there unless anybody has a question. I love this feature. Doesn't mean you have to love this feature. I used to love paper checklists. This has replaced that, right? So I just wanted to show you that it exists. And I'm happy to help you one-on-one with this. And I teach a 1-hour workshop that's just on this piece. But I used to pay $100 a month for a program just to do this. So, cost saving, right? All right, so let's jump back to our opportunities now. We're going to close this. We're just going to talk about doing, oh, I just closed command. We're just going to talk about doing a regular opportunity. So we've entered our contacts already. We know how to do that. So we are going to go create an opportunity from the opportunities handshake or applet, whichever one you want to call it. Is Kelly in here? Yeah, she's still in here. Okay. All right. So we're going to go into our handshake and we are going to look at creating an opportunity. So a recent update that just happened is that we can now quick create contacts right here from our opportunity creation button, right? You used to have to go and enter the contact into Command first, which hopefully they're already in there, unless it just like fell into your lap, like you ran into somebody and they said, actually, we are thinking about selling our house. We're ready to do it. And you're like, I got to do this fast. Then you can actually add the contact right here at this screen, bearing in mind, you can only add an email and a phone number. So if you're going to be using this as your CRM, your customer relation management system, you don't want to just have a phone number and an email. So if you're going to quick create, go back later and add the details to the contact. Okay. If you're in multiple market centers, you will have the opportunity to choose that up here. If you are on a team, you will have the opportunity to choose this here. This is very important what I'm about to say, so I want to make sure that it is heard. Your contacts, I talked about, we have a team side and your personal side of Command. Your contact can only exist on one side of Command. If you are on a team, and that includes productivity coaching, and this person is from your sphere of influence, add them first to your personal side of Command. And then you are going to move them over to your team, productivity coaching, or just a team, if you're going to have a transaction and you need to create the opportunity under the team. So I wanted to make sure that I told you that now. So Dakota is on my personal side of Command, remember? So if I try to create an opportunity under the team, watch what's going to happen. I'm going to start searching for Dakota. This is not the right Dakota. Dakota Perry is my Dakota. So he doesn't exist on the team side of Command because he's on my personal side of Command. So if I take away the team and I start typing Dakota, now Dakota Perry does exist and I can create the opportunity for him. The ability to quick create these contacts now has caused some confusion there because it used to be that they just didn't show up at all and you didn't have the ability to create them. But Command will not allow you to duplicate an email. Command will not allow you to duplicate a phone number. So if you already had Dakota in your personal side, you're now making an opportunity on your team side and you try to enter them, it's not going to let you. It's going to say this email and or phone number already exists. Try again, right? So you want to make sure that you move that contact over. We saw that there was a bulk action for contacts to move them. And also within this, the individual contact card, there is a way to move it to the team. And what happens is the ownership. The reason I said it's so important to start in your personal side is when you create it on your personal side, it's owned by you, it's in your account. You then move the contact to the team. It's going to say it's under the team account, it's owned by you, and you're the assignee that's working with the contact. Right? If you create the contact under your team, it is immediately going to make it be owned by the team with you as the assignee. So then if you graduate from productivity coaching or you decide to leave your team, they own your contacts and not that they wouldn't give them to you, but it just means that they have to individually go through and release each one of your contacts to you. I just got an email about that this morning.
I'm not on a team. Well, I'm in productivity coaching.
So you're on a team.
So I would need to put the team, I would put it in my sphere of influence, but then I would need to select the team.
Correct. You're going to put it on your personal side of Command, and I'll do an example for you because if you are in productivity coaching and they use a pro coach account in Command, that means that instead of saying the elite helpers, it would say pro coach, whatever your market center number is.
Yes.
Okay. Then more than likely they want you to create the transaction under the team. Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
So and that's because they can see it and you can say, I don't know if I did this paperwork right, and they can access it. Otherwise they wouldn't be able to. So I'm just going to take this test contact as an example. I'm going to do test contact 7. No, I'm not. I'm going to do one that's got tags so you guys can see it. I'm going to do test contact Holly. Okay. So test contact Holly, you can see it's under the account, me, personal. I am the owner of test contact Holly. Okay. I'm going to hit these 3 dots and I'm going to click change account and I'm going to move them to my team. So again, I'm in the contact, 3 dots, change account, team, change. Okay. So I've now moved test contact Holly to my team. So now I have a banner that says there are contacts in my team account that match this search. So I can quick switch, and now I'm in my team contacts. So let's find test contact Holly. There she is. Now look what's happened. It's under the account, the Elite Helpers, which is my team, but I am still the owner of the contact, and I am the assignee that is going to be working with the contact, right? So I kept ownership. If I'm in my team and I just click add a contact, I'm just going to say Bootcamp October. Not going to take a long time here to make this. Move my Zoom bar. So let's look at Bootcamp October 3. Watch what happened. The account is the team, that's correct, but the owner is the team, and I'm the assignee. So instead of me being the owner, I'm not the owner, and that's what we don't want. So that's why it's best practice to go ahead and add them to your database first and then move them over. Make sense? Everybody feel good about that, because that's super important. Okay, cool. Let's move back. All right, so now we've got that out of the way. If you're on a team, if you're in productivity coaching, contact has to be on the team side to create a team opportunity. Now, if it is a listing, opportunity name, address, okay? So if this was my listing, I would say Dakota Perry listing, I can leave that and that's fine, but I want to put 123 Main Street in the opportunity name. And that's because when it closes, the MCA wants to pay you, but if they don't know what the address is, then it's very hard for them to find it. And sometimes when they get a check from an attorney's office, they don't always put like the client's names on there. And then when the MCA tries to search for everything, they can't find it. And the only thing they have is the address. So if you didn't give them that, it's hard to find. Okay. Now, when you have a buyer, a lot of times you don't have any idea what the address is going to be yet. So at that point, it's okay to just leave it as buyer and it to say Dakota Perry -buyer, right? Because you don't know what the address is yet. Make sense? So that little tip for you is in the path to get paid. Listing, make the opportunity name the address. Okay. So we're going to actually do a buyer because that's where most people start. So we're going to create an opportunity. We're going to pick buyer. I'm going to search for Dakota. There he is. I'm going to come down. You see it named it Dakota Perry -buyer. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a date here because I've made a bunch of these before. I can do custom tags for my opportunities if I want. So maybe this was a referral that I need to pay a fee on. Maybe they're a first-time home buyer and they came out of let me find something. And they're 2022. It's a 2022 transaction. So I can do some custom tags there if I want. I want to be in my house by Christmas. Great. Our goal is going to be to close on November 30th then. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that's what you're trying to accomplish, is getting moved in by Christmas. Heard. That's what we're going to shoot for. Okay. So time frame, it's about a month. Budget. So for Cultivate, right, they could be like, I'm not going to do it until after school ends. So then you're 6 months out, right? You're waiting until like summer. So budget is one number, not a range. So if they say I've got 225,000 max, that's your budget. Just a jumping off point. Commission rate, your half of the commission. So for me, I expect to get half of 6%. So 3% would be my expected commission rate. Okay. And now here's where we get to choose our opportunity phase and stage. So am I cultivating them, appointment, or active? Active is the furthest you can take an opportunity upon creation. You cannot create it under contract. You would have to create it in active and then move it to under contract. Okay. Opportunity stage. Maybe right now we're searching for a house and I need to get my buyer document signed. So everybody cool with creation of the opportunity? Cool deal. I'm going to go ahead and click create unless there's a question. Going once, going twice. Now everybody has, make sure everybody has a chance. Okay, create. So now I've created my opportunity. So let's look at our path. We entered our contact. We created our opportunity. We gave it a name. We're going to go to the documents tab. That's where we're at. Okay. We are now in the actual opportunity itself. So if I were to go back to my pipeline, it's one of the little boxes, but we've just got it expanded. So I'm going to go over to my documents tab. I'm going to not click here. I'm going to come here first. That's why it's highlighted. Pick a checklist type. Please pick a checklist type. So on the left, depending on your office, you're going to see your choices of checklists. Okay. So this person is purchasing a residential home. The reason it's important is because watch what just happened. It gave you a checklist. This is the Winston-Salem buyer residential checklist. I need to do working with real estate agents. I need to do an exclusive buyer agency agreement when I'm in my consultation part of my buyer. Okay. When I go under contract, I need to do my MLS sheet, an offer to purchase, a receipt of monies. If I got it on 2 pages, I need the second page. I need to do disclosures that are signed. I need to do an affiliated business disclosure. This is your checklist of documents that you have to have. It tells you, is it conditional? Why is it conditional? If you hover over the I, the MLS sheet is required if it's in the MLS. If it's a for sale by owner, there is no MLS sheet to provide, right? So it's conditional. The offer is required. It's red. There's no I. You need to upload an offer, period. Same thing with a receipt. At least 1 page of the receipt needs to be in here. Okay. So it's got all the terms. If it's got an I, it's got a reason. If it's got underlined document in this document column and you're an ink person, you can just click on the offer and it pulls it up for you. And there's a blank offer and you can hit the print button right there at the top. You can hit the download button, right? If you wanted to go get it printed in ink and signed, it's there. If it's underlined, there's a copy for you that I've uploaded and I update them every year. We get new forms on July 1st. So every year I come in here and individually for 3 offices come in here and upload these forms for you guys. So I promise you, they're there. If they're underlined, they're there. Okay. If you're like, I hate e-signing, I'm not doing it. That's okay. I don't care if you get it signed on a scroll, as long as you take the finished copy and you upload it next to its placeholder. I don't care where you got it from. Zip forms, .loop, Docusign, printed it out. Doesn't matter. As long as it's the current form, you have it signed and you upload it next to its placeholder. That's all your compliance officers care about. That's all anybody cares about. Okay. We're not going to go into Docusign yet. We're going to do that after a break because not everyone uses Docusign. So we're not going to go there yet. Okay. If you're going to use Docusign and .loop, the only thing I'm going to say about it is we pick our checklist type first, then we click start a transaction and you pick whichever one you use. Cool. And we start in command first. Whether we're using Docusign or .loop, we do not go straight to Docusign and .loop. We start in command and then we start the transaction from command out into our e-signature platform. Good deal? Okay, so then for closing, we need these things. So these are your checklist items, okay? Now, what happens is, in best practice, let's go back to our path to get paid. We're going to disregard starting a transaction. We're going to look at Docusign in the second half. But then you need to add your documents and submit them to the Market Center for compliance review. They are not trying to be a thorn in your side. They are trying to keep you from getting sued. Okay? I had an agent come to me the other day. He had turned in his stuff. They had returned it because something was missing. He'd been closed for 2 weeks. Still didn't have a check because his paperwork was wrong. And they can't pay us until our paperwork is right. Well, it's been closed for 2 weeks. Like, what do you want me to do? You're going to have to go to the client. You're going to have to get it fixed. It's wrong. Like, you got to get it done. And so instead of doing that to yourself, turn them in as you go. Check your compliance. You get an email. Okay. You get an email. You get a command notification. Your email looks like this. Oh, that's not the right one. Hold on. Let's see, compliance returned. I'm trying to show you guys all fake stuff so I won't get in trouble with stupid YouTube. Must have cleaned it out of here. Hold on one second. Let me go off screen and open a different email. Bear with me, y'all. There we go. You'll get an email that looks like this. Your compliance folder was returned by your office for updates. Please review it and fix it. Like, you get notified. So when you see that, please go to the opportunity. You can just click the button. It'll take you straight into your command, straight to the opportunity. And you will see this listing folder got returned. Why? It will show you that something has been returned. It will show you what that thing is. It will have a little chat bubble that you can hover over that says you missed the initials on page 2. You changed a date and no one initialed the change. Whatever it is, it's going to tell you. You used the wrong offer to purchase. You used, sorry guys, there's like a hair in my lashes. You used a vacant land form where you should have used residential. Whatever it is, right? In order for those things to get caught in a timely fashion, turn your stuff in as you go. When you list a property and you get the documents done, turn them in. Technically, I'm not saying everyone does it. I'm saying technically, the North Carolina Real Estate Commission says if we get documents signed, oh, yes, I will, Kelly. I see your chat, honey. I'll send it in just a second. If you get documents signed, you're supposed to turn them in within 72 hours. That's North Carolina Commission law. That's not me. That's not Keller Williams. That's what the North Carolina Real Estate Commission says. Okay. So just turn them in. Don't wait until you close. I had somebody, this was years ago now, thank goodness, because I used to actually check compliance and I hated it because I hate saying no to people. It's a curse. They got like all of the documents. They used all the old ones and it was like September and it was all the forms from the beginning of the year. And I was like, no, you're going to have to go get all this re-signed. Like, you're well past the date to be allowed to use these forms. And they had to go get everything re-signed. I felt so bad, but we can't, right? So again, they're not trying to be a pain in the butt. So please don't get mad at the compliance officers. Please, 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 please. Because we're not doing it.
As I get the forms in, you're in their sign correctly, which using Docusign or a regular signature, upload that form immediately. And then my coach or whoever compliance, they'll see it
Yeah,
as
so
I
you're
go,
gonna,
or will they only look at it after the transaction's
no,
electronic?
they
Okay.
only look at it when you submit it, right?
Okay.
So if I got, say I got all of these signed, but I didn't get my measurements yet. Let me take my measurements out. Well, I can't because I've already turned it in. But say I hadn't had my measurements done for the house yet. I can go ahead and upload everything in here and have it ready to go. And then as soon as I get my measurements, I can upload them. Let me upload just something. And I can attach them from Docusign if it's connected or just my computer. I'm just going to browse this and put something in there so that I have a new document. There we go. All right, so now I have a document in here that's new. Now I have this button up here at the top that says Submit to Market Center. So once you click that, the compliance officers know that someone's turned in documents, and they come in and they literally read through every page and they make sure that everything is signed, that everything is correct, and all that kind of fun stuff. And honestly, you know, they really are doing it. Kelly, I'm trying to send you this, y'all. I'm not trying to be on my phone while I'm teaching you, but Kelly can't hear. So Kelly is in. Kelly, can you answer me in the chat? You're in my Winston-Salem office, right? I want to make sure I'm on the right side of my command in my app. Or can you just drop your cell phone number in the chat either way? Either way, Kelly, if you open Zoom on your phone, all you have to do is type in my phone number as the meeting ID. So you just have to type in 336-575-8473. Is the meeting ID. Okay. So that being said, I love my compliance officers because I have been one and I want to protect them. They're trying to help you. They really are, right? They are there to help our broker in charge to make sure that all of you don't go to real estate jail, which there's really not real estate jail, but there are hefty fines in real estate. So you don't want to get a brown envelope from the commission because that means your butt's in trouble. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be sued. Okay, if you give your broker in charge all of your paperwork and it's signed and it's ready to go, and someone tries to sue you, he can be like, nah, fam, look right there. They said they didn't want a radon test. So just because y'all got sick, because you have radon, my agent told you to get a radon test, you declined it, you signed it, it's right here. You can't sue them. If you don't turn your stuff in, we can't protect you like that. Okay. So I'm not trying to harp on it. I'm just trying to reiterate the importance of good paperwork. If you have not started reading through your forms yet and you're a new agent, stop it. Go read your forms. Buyer agency, listing agreement, offer to purchase, due diligence agreement. Read your forms. I mean it, right? I can flip an offer to purchase around and look at the person I'm talking to and explain what's on the page without looking down. You need to know what your forms say. They are legal documents for someone's biggest investment of their entire life. So please read them and understand what they mean, okay? And turn them in so you don't get your butt in trouble. CYA, as my broker in charge says. Look that up if you don't.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Regarding what you just said, is there a place where we can get all of those documents for every part of the transaction to like look over and practice?
Right here.
Well, that's after you make the opportunity. So I didn't know if you make an opportunity that's like.
Yeah, fake. All of mine are fake.
Oh, okay. Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you can make a fake one. Just put 0% for your commission. But you have multiple places to get your documents. You can get them out of Docusign. If they're underlined in here, they're here. In your independent Facebook groups, I have shared a Google Drive. I go to the North Carolina Real Estate Commission every year on July 1st, and I download every form and I share them with my market centers. Do not share those folders because it's only for licensed real estate agents that are realtors to have those forms. And then here on my website under agent resources, boom, 2022, 2023, NCAR forms. Click, opens up the Google Drive, it's there. This is
Okay,
protected. You're welcome. This is protected to only be Keller Williams emails. But if you hit the button and request it, I'll double check that it's somebody that's in one of my offices and I'll give you permission to get in there. Oh, Kelly, hey, we can hear you now, girl.
All right, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. Okay, so you can get forms here. You can get forms in Docusign. You can get forms in Dotloop. You can get forms in Command. You can get forms out of your Facebook groups. They're there. Read them over. Cool. All right, so turning in our compliance. The next thing on our how to do a transaction is, we're going to make it all the way through this before we go look at Docusign. We've uploaded our documents. We're turning them in as we go, right? Now, to get the paid part, and don't worry, guys, if you don't remember all of these steps, if you need help with a specific step, ask. That's why we're here, okay? I'm just showing you the whole path so that you can get to the end and know what you're doing. Print this document out for yourself if you're a visual learner. The next thing you're going to do, whether it's a buyer or a seller, is create an offer and accept it. This is how we request our money, okay? So we're here, we've done our documents, we're doing our thing, we're turning them in. We're going to come over to offers and commissions. I'm actually going to go back to the one that we were just working in. So when you're back, this is a good thing for me to show you anyway. When you're back on this screen, you can click in each one of your individual things and find your opportunities. You can also click on this all opportunities tab. You've got filters, you've got, all the things that one could possibly need to search for something. You can search by the address, the opportunity name, the assignee, the contact, whatever you need to search by. So if it closes, I've had some people call me and freak out and they're like, I can't find my opportunity, it closed and now it's gone, right? Like I've had that call and I hate it when everybody gets upset. All opportunities tab. Just jump right in here, it'll be here. I should have, let me search by my opportunity name. I'm pretty sure I put the date in here. I was in that old opportunity. 25th of October. It's insane. It's crazy. Here we go. Okay. So we're going to go to offers and commissions tab. Okay. We're going to click add new offer. We can call it whatever we want to call it. Initial offer, final offer, accepted offer, whatever. Create offer. Okay. So this is your offer details page. When did you make the offer? That's important. When is it going to close? I think we aimed for November 30th, so we're going to say that that's what we put on our offer. We can select the listing from KWLS. That means Keller Williams listing system. If it's your own listing, it's going to show up here because it says show only my listings. If it is not your listing, drop this little friendly thing down here and change it over to all listings and search for that buyer's listing. Okay, for the listing that they're purchasing. Let me see if I can find this. So we're going to use this one right here and click select. That's what we're making an offer on. Now the address is in there. If it is a for sale by owner, right? It's not in the MLS. You're just going to type the address down here. It's going to populate by Google, just like I talked to you guys about. Okay. Pretty good. So add the listing there. Now we're going to move forward to parties. It knows that my buyer is Dakota, and it knows that I am me and that I'm the buyer's agent because this is a buyer opportunity. It's in my command. It also knew, because I connected it from KWLS, that the wonderful and beautiful Miss Abby Umloff is the listing agent because she's a KW agent and this is her listing. So it knew that. It doesn't know the seller's name, so I can just put like Smith. The only thing that's required here is the stuff that has the red asterisks, right? So if you don't have the seller's email, phone number, fax number, and address, that's okay. You can just put their name. Just the stuff with the red asterisks. Everybody good with the parties tab? Cool. Move forward again. Here's your terms. If you don't have exact numbers, that's okay, as long as you get to the final sales price. Okay. But if I know, I think we said we wanted to stick at 225. If I know that my person is doing $50,000, I think this is like a $900,000 listing, but that's okay. We'll just pretend like that didn't happen. If I know my buyers are putting down $50,000, that means that they need $175,000 financed for a total sales price of 225. So I can split it up, or I can put it all under cash or all under finance. This piece of it is really for your records. Like, you want to know that they went conventional or FHA or all that kind of stuff. The office doesn't really look at this stuff. This is for your own personal records as an agent, which you're supposed to keep from anywhere for 3 to 7 years. So just think about that for a minute, because I have done that. Earnest money amount. You can do a percentage, you can do an amount. So if I know that it was $1,500, then I can put that here. Option fee, that's due diligence. If you're in North Carolina, you can put the option fee here. And I know that there's been like stupid high due diligence. I don't even know what they are anymore. For me, it used to be like $200. I've heard like $20,000 in due diligence recently pass. But nonetheless, you can put that there if you want, but note, no red asterisks, not required. So if you don't care for this to be in your records, you don't need to put it. You just need to have that sales price. Termination option, due diligence period. How many days do they have to get all of their inspections done? That's what that means, just so you know. Again, not required. Seller will contribute X number of dollars to a residential service contract. You new agents are not familiar with this. When it was actually a buyer's market, we would get to say, hey, we want $700 for a home warranty. And the seller would be like, okay, yeah, absolutely, we'll do that. So that's what I used to request. Then we would be like, I also need $3,000 in closing costs, please. And they'd be like, okay, sure, we can do that, absolutely. So maybe y'all get to see that sometime soon. It hadn't been happening yet, though. But that's what those are. So the top box is if you're requesting money for like a home warranty. The bottom box is those seller contributed closing costs towards closing. Just so you guys know what the boxes are. Again, nothing is required on this page except the price. Any questions on terms? Cool. Agent analysis. This is very beneficial if this is a listing that is yours. You can add multiple offers, which we have been seeing. I don't know that we're seeing them now, into this system, and then make a comparison to email to your seller and say, here's your 5 offers and all their terms. And it makes a lovely spreadsheet. You can share it on over to them so that they can see it. This is what that looks like. If this is your buyer, you don't have to put anything in here. You're just going to click save. Now you have your offer. There it is. Okay. The Smiths are the seller. That's the listing agent. Da, 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 da. This is the address. This is the offer. This is how much cash finance, earnest option, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Cool. Then we're going to hit accept. Now that we've hit accept, if your offer gets accepted, obviously, you hit accept, you now have a button that says manage commission. And this shows you your breakdown and your splits. Okay. So total commission would be $6,750. That much is going to go to the office. That much is going to go to royalty. That much is company commission. This goes in your pocket. Over here, this is red. That's because you need a contract date. So maybe you went under contract today, which is the 25th. We save, that red goes away. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get down into the nitty gritty of what if it's a referral? What if this happened? What if I'm giving them money? What if it's a veteran and I'm giving them a 0.5% discount? When those things happen, we can have a discussion around it. Most of the time, it is this simple, and you're just going to submit your commission. Okay. And once you do, you're going to see this option. So I always like to bring this up. This is not a requirement for you to do. Okay. If you want to, you can give money to KW Cares. If you want to, you can give money to KW Kids Can. Okay. Some people do have this and they click this little checkbox and say, apply the same donation to all of my future commissions. Okay. But if you don't have the money to do that right now, that's okay. If you want to save yourself from having to see this every time, go ahead and click that checkbox and then click other right here and put 0. Or if you say, I can give $1, and then you can say other and I'll give $1, then you can do that. If you are a high roller and you want to give them $25 every time, then you can do that, right? Whatever it is that you want to do, you can set it up. You can click this checkbox and you won't see this box anymore. It'll just automatically give 0 to whatever dollar you say. If you ever decide that you wanted to change it, maybe you do $1 right now, and in a year you start making more money. Yes, you do, Stephanie. You do get a record of any donations you make. You can go into your settings and you can say, okay, I'm ready to give $5 with each closing, and you could, whatever, right? You can edit it after the fact. And then you can click donate and submit. Or if you don't mind seeing the box and you want to pick, like this time it was a small closing, next time if it's bigger, I might do it, then you can just click the skip donation and submit button. I'm not actually going to submit this because my MCA will yell at me because I didn't warn her. Okay, but that's how this works. That takes us to the end of this. Okay, so we entered our contact, we created our opportunity, we picked our checklist type, it's highlighted for a reason, so you know what documents you need to go get. Click start a transaction in Docusign or Dotloop. If you click it, I'm going to make this little note before we take a quick break. If you click Docusign, all of these documents that have the little teal box are going to already show up in your Docusign, so you don't have to go find them. That's why it's important to pick your checklist type first before you click start a transaction. But we did that. We went there. We got our documents signed. We turned them in. They got approved. We submitted our commission request. That got approved. We get to the end. We get paid. Done. I know it seems like a lot now, but that's because we're talking about it all at one time. You have to think this is over the span of 2 months, 1 month, right? It's not happening all at one time the way we just showed it. It's kind of rolling along. And you have help, but I just wanted to take you guys all the way through what it would look like to do a transaction. So any questions on this? Because if anybody uses Dotloop and you don't want to save for Docusign, I don't want to waste your time. Is there a donation limit? I don't think so, but I would ask the money people, which are your MCAs, because Monica's not good with money. I'm really bad, honestly. That's why I teach the technology and not the money. So whoever your market center administrator is, that's who you would ask any money questions, because they're really good with money. Cool. We're going to take a 5-minute break. If you want to stick around and learn about Docusign, this is the place to be. And I will see you guys in 5 minutes. Ding. And we're back. And we're going to talk about Docusign. Okay. So I want to make one thing clear about Docusign. Docusign is nothing more than where we go to get signatures. Docusign Rooms is what we use. And Docusign Rooms is a standalone product for some real estate companies and individual real estate agents that has a lot of moving parts and pieces in it, a lot of which we don't need to worry about because we're just using it to get our e-signatures done. Okay. Eventually, it is my thought that we'll just have Docusign kind of embedded in Command and we won't actually have to go external to get this done. We're working our way there. Okay. So we're still following this. We entered our contact. We created our opportunity. We picked our checklist type. Like I said, everything with the teal DS little block next to it is going to populate into your DocuSign room. So we are now going to click Start a Transaction in the upper right corner, and we are choosing DocuSign because that's what we're looking at today. You are going to see a new window open that takes you to DocuSign Rooms. Okay? If this window does not pop up, it is because you have a pop-up blocker enabled. I've got multiple calls about people and they're like, it's not working. I'm clicking it, it's not working. And then when I get in here, they have a pop-up blocker on. It shows up here in their URL bar, up here at the top. And when I turn it off for them, then they have like 30 DocuSign rooms, 30 DocuSign tabs because they kept clicking the button over and over again. So if it doesn't pop up the first time, it's a pop-up blocker. That's what's causing it. If you run into a question, just shoot me a text, okay? Everybody good? So we click Start Transaction. We pick DocuSign. DocuSign Rooms opened. My stuff is already saved. You'll be able to just hit log in. After you've done it once or twice, it should save it for you. And it's created a DocuSign room with all those forms that I promised you. Guess what? Dakota Perry, buyer 102522, command. Dakota Perry, buyer 10252022. They're connected. This is why we start in command first. If you go to DocuSign and start first, it's not going to work. You can't retroactively go back and add the connection. Okay, so start in command. Here's all your forms. A lot of these forms are samples, and the reason that I mapped them to come into the room is because a lot of the documents you're signing say, I provided my buyer with a sample copy of the offer to purchase, a sample copy of professional services disclosure, the home inspection Q&A, all, this, that, and the other. So that's why those extra forms are in there. You don't really have to get them signed. If you gave them to them in person, you don't need to do anything with them. They're just there for you in case you need them. Okay. So when we are first meeting with a buyer, because that's what we're talking about, because that's where most people start. Under our consultation, we need to get a working with real estate agents disclosure signed. We need to get a buyer agency agreement signed. Okay. We do have the ability in DocuSign to set up templates, right? And templates look like this. Buyer agency agreement. I'm going to open it. I'm just clicking on the form. It pops the whole form open for me. Okay. So I know that my firm is Keller Williams Realty Elite. It's where my license is. I don't want to have to type that 5 million times every time I write this exclusive buyer agency agreement. So I can put it into my template. 95% of the time I was working on residential property, I might go ahead and check that off on my template. I know that I expect to get 3% on the resale of a home, 2.5% on new construction, and 5% on a piece of vacant land, because that's half of what the total commission normally would be. So I could go ahead and put that in here too in my template. Okay, I know that this number for me, if within this many days after the expiration of this agreement, the buyer enters into a contract to acquire a property that I showed them while we were in the agreement, I still expect to get paid for it. My number is 60. That's my number. I'm an independent contractor. That's the number I choose to put there. I've seen everything from 30 to 90 days. It's up to you what your number is. Mine is 60. Okay. Buyer acknowledges receipt of the offer to, or a receipt of a sample of an offer to purchase and contract, receipt of a sample of the professional services disclosure and election form. I can go ahead and check those off on my template because I'm always going to give them a copy. I don't do home warranties, so I usually put something like 0% or NA in this box. Okay. And on we go. Right on down the form. I get down here. I know my name and my firm license number and my company's address and my license number and my phone number. So I, again, don't want to have to type that every time that I do a buyer agency agreement. So I also put that in my template. Okay, I'm going to close this. So we're going to pause and we're going to talk quickly about setting up templates, because once you've done one, you can do all of them. Yes, you have to renew them every year in July when you get the new forms, because the form pages change. So you have to change what's in the forms. So to create your templates, when you're in Docusign, you're going to click on My Docs. You're going to click on Form Templates. You're going to click Create Form Template. You can pick from groups. That is a group of forms that your market center is set up for you. Yours will not look as crazy as mine because I'm in 3 offices. If you were in Winston-Salem, you're going to see KWRE buyer forms, KWRE listing forms, KWRE vacant land, and FSBO. If you're in Greensboro, KW1, you are going to see buyer packet residential, listing packet residential. If you're in Chapel Hill, you're going to see all the rest of them. The rest of them are yours. Okay. If you pick from library, you have the options of any MLSs you're in, your market center specific forms. So 509 Greensboro, 685 Chapel Hill, 994 Winston-Salem. And you have the North Carolina Association of Realtor forms. This is all the forms that the North Carolina Association of Realtors gives us. You can see there's a lot. That's why we made you guys groups, so you didn't have to like scroll through this long list of forms. Okay. But you can pick whichever form it is that you're setting up. For example, the buyer agency agreement that we're talking about. And it is somewhere. Buyer agency 201. That's the one. And you click use. And you're just going to go in here and fill in all that stuff we just talked about so that you don't have to do it every single time, right? Put your firm number in there, but name in there. Check if you want to check something here. Put your phone number, your email address, all your stuff at the bottom. Anything. For me, my rule is if I do it more than 50% of the time, I fill it in on my template. Because in a specific transaction, if I'm like, I told this person that I would give them 2.5% because they're a veteran, then I could make that change in that one specific transaction, right? So if I do it more than 50% of the time, I just go ahead and fill it in on this. That's kind of my rule. You guys can make your own rule for what you want to do. But you fill in everything that you want and you hit save and close. I'm not actually going to save it because I already have one. But questions on this? I teach whole classes that are just Docusign, but I just wanted to show you guys at least templates. Okay. We're just going to move back to our room. So that was our little side note there. You can go set your templates up at any time. If you want to go to just Docusign to set up your templates, like you don't need to create a room for that, then you're going to go to rooms.docusign.com, not docusign.com. That's the e-signature side of Docusign. Traditional Docusign. Docusign Rooms is specific to real estate transactions. So if you want to set up your templates, you're going to go to rooms.docusign.com. Okay, so we're going to get back on track with what we were doing. All right, so I have templates already. So I'm going to right click this exclusive buyer agency agreement and click apply form template. I'm going to pick my form template and click apply. I'm going to right click on my offer. I'm going to apply my form template. I'm going to pick my form template and click apply. I can go through and do this for any document that I have a template set up for. If I don't have a template set up for it, the cool thing is, whatever, like this, I don't have a template set up for the 4T. but anything that was in any of the other documents that's on this document would map here. So like if my name was on this document, my name is also on the offer to purchase, it would have filled in my name on this document. Make sense? So if that map field existed on something else, it would fill it in for me. Okay, if you do not have any, Stephanie, if you don't have any, what that more than likely means is that you don't have your NERDS number, your NRDS, National Association of Realtors identifier number in Docusign. So you're going to, that's a great question. You're going to come up and click on your picture in the upper right corner. I'll let you catch up because I want to make sure that you have your documents. You're going to click preferences. Going to bring you to this screen here. You're going to come to the left and click integrations. So again, we clicked on our profile, we clicked preferences, it brought us to this screen. We're going to come to the left and click integrations. If you don't see National Association of Realtors right here, you want to click add provider. This is blocked out because I'm already connected, but you're going to choose National Association of Realtors. And then it's going to ask you for your NERDS number and your last name. And then when you connect it, it's going to give you all your forms. Great question. So if anybody doesn't see their North Carolina Association of Realtor forms, this is how you get them. Good. Great question.
Monica, being that I'm a new agent, I would probably need to go in and go ahead and do that too, right?
Sometimes when Scott Leroy sets your stuff up for you, he's got it there already. And sometimes he doesn't. I think it's if he can see it, then he'll do it. Okay. But I mean, it's
I just took the notes in case it's not there. I know how to get to it and add it. Okay.
Exactly. That's the best thing to know. And I have seen it, especially if somebody gets married, divorced, name change, whatever, that can cause it to like disconnect. So it's always good to know how to get to it anyway. Good. Pretty good. Cool. All right. So now that I've applied my form templates, when I open up my working with real estate agents, all of my check boxes are checked because they're supposed to be. My name is here. My license number is here. Keller Williams Realty Elite is there because it was in my template and I applied my template. Right. So this form, I don't have to fill anything else out because all of the client's information is going to come in for me. So this form is done. Let's go into that buyer agency agreement. Okay. Okay. So Keller Williams Realty Elite, it knew that. The date for today is 10/25. Right. I'll just go through, everybody misses this date, so I always like to touch on it. I don't have time to touch on every single field. Your broker in charge more than likely has classes on these documents and what they mean and what they say and what you're supposed to put in them. Plus, you have guidelines, so consult the guidelines, Form 201G, for guidance in completing this form. It's got directions on what you're supposed to put in here, okay? Your client's names. Anything that you need to do, you go ahead and fill it in. When is this agreement beginning? 10/25/2022. This buyer's only buying one house, and this expires on, 6/30/2023, whatever it is. You just fill out everything that is your text that it needs to be filled out. I think that must have been the wrong template where I just did a test template. Let me get back. Let me apply a different one. I make too many of these and then I forget what I did. There we go. So you can see, like, I work for Forsyth County, Jefferson County, Davie County, Stokes County, da 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 da. All my stuff is filled in there, right? So all I have to do is go through and fill out the stuff that's not filled in my buyer agency agreement. Does that make sense? Since I already did apply my template. Any questions on that? Stephanie? Yes, we will need to deal with that. Okay, so then you would just fill in any other pertinent information on this form and click save. Okay, so we're going to pretend it's all filled out. I'm ready to get it signed. Buyer consultation, working with real estate agents. Just thinking about it. Questions? I'm filling it out. Good. All right. So I want to get my working with real estate agents sign. You see what happened there? When I hit the checkbox, I got this bar. Uncheck, it's gone. Check it, it's back. So I want to get these two things signed. So now that I have them checked, I'm going to click my pen on my bar to create an envelope. Okay. If you're an existing KW agent who has used Docusign before, this workflow looks a little bit different. If you're new, you don't know any different, so it's fine. Okay. So you're going to select who is signing. Who are you sending this to? I need to sign it because I'm the buyer's agent and there's a buyer agency agreement in there. And I only have one buyer, and that's them. Continue. Okay. It's going to take it a minute. What it's doing right now is it was reading the forms to determine where do all these signatures need to get dropped, which is pretty cool. And I don't know why my Dakota contact is being difficult for some reason the last 2 days. Normally I don't run into any problems, but it's been weird. Not just in this, but in something else. Gmail.com. I've done too many of these. I think I've confused the system. Okay. Nonetheless, yours will just fill in for you because you won't have done as much crazy testing in yours as I have. Okay. So you can see currently I am number 1. Dakota is number 2. 1, 2. Okay. So once I move forward and I make sure everything is as it should be and I hit next and send, I have to sign before he is going to receive the notification to sign because we're number 1 and 2. So if you're an existing agent who hasn't seen this update yet, this is a change. It used to get numbered 1 and 1 by default. Okay. If you like it being 1 and 1, which means that you get it, he gets it, everybody signs it, everybody gets the completed one, you're going to uncheck that signing order box. Now everyone's going to get it at the same time. Okay. Or you can leave it at default, which is 1 and 2. So I just wanted to make sure that I showed that to you guys. Okay. We have a couple more things we can do in here. That's a Docusign in and of itself class, not just a workflow of how to get your stuff done. I teach a class called Docusign Tips, Tricks, and Time Savers. I've taught it recently. It is on YouTube as one of the recent videos and under the Docusign playlist. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click next unless anybody has any questions. Nothing in the chat.
If you have multiple buyers, so say if you have two, you click on two buyers.
Yeah,
What
if you had two, you would have started it that way. That's a great question in Command, right?
Okay, yeah,
So-
and so it would have
right,
populated. Okay,
Exactly.
right.
So in Command, only Dakota's a buyer. If I'd had a co-buyer right here, it would have brought them both in.
Cool, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Great question. Good. Awesome. Okay, so now look what happened. My initial or his initials, my initials. His initials, my initials. His initials, my initials. It read it, it dropped the signatures. We used to have the ability to not do what we just did and no signatures were there and you had to drag and drop them all and it was just a great time. Nobody wants to do that. So this is a very nice little workflow. I do like to bring everyone's attention to now page 5. Used to be page 4, but they change our forms on us every year. Okay. I want to talk about this page at the top of page 5 of the buyer agency agreement. Notice the difference in the initials. These initials are solid. These initials are not. That is because these initials are optional. Okay. And we should have already had this conversation prior to getting this form signed. Does this buyer permit you to practice dual agency? That means if, remember, we were making an offer on Abby's property. She's part of my office in Winston-Salem. That would be a dual agency transaction because my firm is representing the seller and my firm is now representing the buyer. Dual agency. Do they permit it? Yes or no? We should have had that conversation. Okay. We're going to make the initial that is the appropriate initial required instead of optional. I'm going to show you why. If they said, no, I don't want to be represented by both, then neither of these two things need to get signed. Only this needs to get signed. If they said, yes, the firm can represent both me and the seller, but I want my own agent. That would be designated agency. That's a conversation with your broker in charge, whether your brokerage practices designated agency. Then you would need initials 1 and 2 signed. Okay, so that's why I said read your forms, know what they mean. I'm always trying to get dual agency to be allowed because I mean, my office in Winston-Salem lists the most offices in the city, so in the surrounding area. So if I can't show you our listings, it's probably going to be a problem because there's probably going to be a listing that you want to see. So I always just have this conversation up front. But
So we would have that conversation when we're doing the working with real estates form, right?
what you can, yep, because
Okay.
it does talk about that. These are the options of how I can work with you type of situation. But actually getting the consent for that to be okay, you need to make, it needs to be a clear conversation. And then they're signing this is a
Okay.
clear, you know, I agree to this situation. But the reason it's so important to do this, I'm going to click preview in the upper right. A lot of people don't know you can do this. This is going to show you what it looks like when someone receives these forms in their email. Okay. So I'm going to change this to be Dakota's view in the upper left. So if Dakota got this from me as it stands right now, here's what's going to happen. And depends on what personality is on the other side of signing this document. Okay. He's going to go, okay, start. Cool. Buyer initials. I'm a high D. I'm probably not going to read it. I'm going to click, 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 click until it tells me it's done. And I'm like, yay, it's done. Okay. My mom is a high C. She's going to read every line of this thing, but she's going to have a bunch of questions about it. Okay. So if I sign it, I'm going to click, 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 click. Watch what just happened. I just went right over the top of those. I didn't even know they were there because they're not required. Okay. So I'm going to keep going clicking. It's going to come back to you and say it's finished. I had no idea it was even there. You're going to get it. You're going to turn it in. Your broker in charge or compliance officer is going to turn it around and say, nope, they didn't decide whether dual agency was okay. And you're like, huh? And then you're going to have to go back and get it signed again. We don't want to do that. Okay. If it was my mom, she's going to read. Huh? What's this? And then she's going to go, huh? Well, I don't know. And she's either going to select two wrong ones, right? Or all three. Or maybe she goes, no, I want to be represented just me. Just me. I don't want anybody else representing me or the seller that's representing me. And then when you go to show her houses, if you didn't notice this and you've turned this in and you go show her a house that's listed by your office and make an offer, you can't. You couldn't have even shown her the house, shouldn't have shown her the house because she said she desired exclusive representation at all times. So still wrong, right? We don't want to do that. So we're going to have that conversation up front. They said, yes, dual agency is fine. I understand what it means. I get it. You're going to go, great. You're going to click on the blue box. You're going to click required. You're going to click on this one. We don't need it. Delete it. We're going to click on this one. We don't need it. You can also delete it with the button over here on the right, or you can delete it with the delete button on your keyboard. Now we only have this button. Now, when we go to sign it, it's going to do what it should do, which you're going to click start and you're going to sign it and you're going to sign it and you're going to sign it and you're going to sign it. And it's going to take me right here where I go dual agency. Yep, we talked about that. Cool. And then I'm going to keep on signing. Make sense? So there are a couple of places that stuff like that happens. There's the buyer agency agreement, the listing agreement, and I believe in the offer to purchase, there is something similar, as well as some other options in offer to purchase that need to be discussed as you're signing, where there's optional initials that you need to do. On the listing agreement, there's two things. There's dual agency, and there's also like the coming soon area, I think, that has some optional initials. So just be wary of those initials that have an empty, hollow, they're not filled in with color, right? Because they can cause confusion. So it's best to just address them up front, and then you're good to go. So if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and send this off. I know we're looking at buyers today. When you're doing a listing, you can, in fact, send your disclosures. I get asked that a lot. Can I send my disclosures for my listing? Yes. And it is always going to be assigned, if you will, to seller one to answer all the questions. So make sure that you have the appropriate person in seller one. If you have the husband in seller one and the wife is the one that needs to answer all the questions, none of the fields are going to assign to her, if that makes sense. Okay. So you would need to make her number one. So I'm going to go ahead and send this off so you can see what it would look like. You need to sign it. So once it sends, it's going to bring you back and it's going to say, needs my signature. A lot of people, I guess they just don't have the patience to see it show up here. Then they go into their own email and they have to like open it up and sign. You don't have to do that. Just wait a second and then open it from right here. And you can go ahead and click sign. Okay. And you're going to review it and you're going to sign it. You're going to click continue. You're going to click start and you're going to initial it. And then you're going to sign on page 7. Boop. And you don't have to do anything with the working with real estate agents because your part of it's done and you're going to finish. And then, do I still have his stuff open? Let me see. Yes. So then Dakota is going to get an email from Docusign. It says, please sign this exclusive buyer agency agreement. And he's going to open it. And he's going to click review documents. If they've never used Docusign before, it is going to ask them to adopt their initials before they continue signing. But Dakota's already signed stuff, so he's just going to click start. Sign, 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 sign. There's that appropriate box, which is good. sign, 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 finish. And it is done. Okay. So now, obviously you wouldn't be like sitting there like a hawk waiting for this to happen. And you obviously wouldn't be signing for your client like I have to. Stephanie, you can archive your practice opportunity. There's 3 dots. Don't click lost. Lost means like I listed a house. It stayed on the market for 6 months. It didn't sell. They told me they don't want to list with me anymore. We don't want to do that. You're going to archive it from this viewpoint. That's a great question. So say it was a listing. I'm just going to grab a random one and say like this guy is like, no, you can click the 3 dots and click archive and it'll just go away. It doesn't delete it permanently in case you need to redo it. If you need to like restore it. But it does get it out of your way. That's a great question. Okay, so let me go to 1025. I want to show you guys what happened. Show you guys what happened here. Both here and so let's say you sent that stuff off, you signed your part, you went and showed some houses, you came back. Okay. And you're like, okay, everything got signed, cool. I'm going to click go to transaction and just go back to Docusign so you can see what it would look like. You're going to have 2 versions of the form now. You're going to have the Docusign version, which is still fully editable, has no signatures on it. And you're going to have a green little check mark in the ones that got signed. And I touch on this because I have a lot of people that make an offer and then they get a counter and then they're like, now what do I do? I need to change the terms and it's signed. What do I do? Okay. So we're going to pretend this is an offer. You have 2 choices. You can take this signed copy and click your pen and go into your envelope and drag X's and strike throughs and initials and all that. I hate strike throughs personally. If you are cool with them, that's good. My OCD can't take it. But if that's what you want to do, you can take the signed copy, put it in the envelope, drag the X's and stuff from the side of the Docusign window and strike through it. I go into my original form copy. I make the edits to my price and adjustment and maybe the closing date or whatever it was that the seller requested of me. I change it in this copy and then I send it off for fresh signatures and then I resend it over to the listing agreement. Then I'll end up with 2 signed copies, the original and the new one, which is what I want because now I have a record of everything that I did, right? So that's how that part works. I wanted to touch on that before I jumped back over to Command. So does anybody have a question on what you would do if you like turned in an offer and then it came back? You've got 2 choices. Cool. Okay. So now in Command, I need to turn these in, right? 72 hours. I got to turn them in to my people, to my compliance officers. So I'm going to, how did I even end up reordering this? There. Weird. Okay, so I'm going to attach the files from Docusign because that's where I got them signed. If I got them signed in ink and I scanned them, then I would be attaching them from my computer manually. I'd upload them. But since I got them from Docusign, I need to pick my working folder, okay, which is called Room Docs. You can see it right here. Room Docs, because I can create multiple folders inside of Docusign, especially if I'm making multiple offers or something like that. So I need to pick my working folder and then I can say, here's my working with real estate agents, drop down. Here's my working with real estate agents, it's signed, click. Here's my exclusive buyer agency agreement. Here's the drop down. Here's my exclusive buyer agency agreement signed, click. Now they are in their appropriate spots. All of the rest of this stuff is just optional. Like I said, I just made them map so that you could have them if you needed them. It tells you, you do not need to turn this in. So if I uploaded something for convenience for you, I did make a note that says you do not need to turn this in. All you need is these 2 forms. You're simply going to come up and click submit to Market Center, confirm the submit, and send it off. And then they're going to approve it or they're going to return it. If they return it, they're going to send you a note as to why they returned it, and you'll be good to go. And you can redo it if you need to, right? So the one that we saw earlier, you have the option to replace it with the one that you fixed. Cool. So, I mean, at its simplest form, that's how it flows, the opportunity section. Do your practice ones. I cannot recommend that enough, because that way when the real deal happens, you're not like, I don't know what to do, right? So send it. I mean, my poor teenage kids, I send them stuff all the time, right? I've made an email for a dog and send them that way just so I can practice and show you guys. So a lot of people are like, how do you know how to do all this stuff? Because I just do it over and over and over and over. It just feels like very, very simple to me because I've done it, right? Does that make sense? So do it, use your partner, your husband, your cousin, your mother, your brother, your friend, your kids, whoever. You can send it without it harming anything. Just make the commission percentage 0, because you don't want it to actually populate into your numbers or anything. And you can send test ones. So
Also, I have a question.
yeah, Brittany.
Being a new agent, I want to be in compliance. I want to follow all the rules. So me having this information, I know I have it on the computer for, anything coming back 4 years later, but would I need to print these forms off and like start my own folders in my file cabinet at home?
That's up to you. I keep everything in triplicate. So, since I've been doing this since 2008, I did keep a paper form, and then because that's how we got stuff signed in 2008 for the most part. And then I scanned everything and I dropped it into a Google Drive. And then all the scans that I dropped in the Google Drive, I also kept on a hard.
Okay, because I'm not really a paper person. That's why I was like, I want to have a backup and a backup. Like, I know Command I'm using that now.
So for you, since you are not a paper person, which I am not a paper person anymore myself, one copy is in Command. So that's one, right?
Mm-hmm.
One copy is also in Docusign. So that's two copies in 2 different systems. And then what I personally do is I save them to my Google Drive. So this is my old Google Drive from when I sold. I have folders in here for each year. And then within each year, it says buyers and sellers. There's a folder for each buyer and seller. And then in each buyer and seller folder, I have a folder for each separate transaction.
Okay, makes sense. I'll do that.
And I just drop all the documents there. But the other cool thing that you can do in Command, if I had like all of my documents here, I can come up here to these 3 dots and I can click export documents. And I could take all of the documents and export them into a zip file and drop it onto a hard drive and email them. So you've got multiple ways that you can choose that you want to keep your folders.
Yeah, CYA.
Yep, 100%. Awesome. Well, hopefully this was helpful. I know this is not the most fun day, talking about compliance and all that kind of stuff. And yet it's a necessary evil for us in real estate to have to do the nitty gritty and not just the glamorous part. So hopefully that helps you guys. And don't worry, I'm here. If you're not going to have a transaction within like the next week, you're not going to remember anything that we talked about today, more than likely, but at least you got to see it. You got to see how the flow will go. Just know that you have help. If it's techie stuff, I'm your person. If it's like, how does this form get filled out? That's either your productivity coach, if you're in productivity coaching, or your broker in charge. I do know the forms, but I am technically not the one that's supposed to tell you about them. So I would ask your productivity coach or your broker in charge. And if it is a money question, ask your wonderful MCAs. And when you do, give them a hug, because we love them and they give us money. So make sure that you love on them back. Okay. All right. Tomorrow, more fun websites, if you like websites, and our consumer app where people can search for homes. We'll talk a little bit more about the Command app tomorrow. And then Thursday, we'll do all the marketing stuff. So the designs platform, how to make flyers, how to make social media posts, and then the campaigns platform, which is how we post to social media, Facebook ads, postcards, all that kind of stuff on Thursday. Good deal. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And I